I just bought the new iPhone 16 Plus and I regret it heavily. Here's why. So in one of my previous vids, I did mention how I was using an iPhone 13 to record all of my videos and as my daily driver. And it's a phone that I really liked. It did exactly what it was supposed to, and it was really, really good. But I had already had it for around 3 years and the battery was completely destroyed. My battery health was at 66%. I don't know how it got so low. I don't know what I'm doing or how I'm charging the phone wrong, but it got really, really low and the phone would only last me around 2 hours. I did mention that in one of my previous videos and actually said I was going to buy the iPhone 16e, but since I was already going to do a big upgrade, I decided why not spend a little more and get the bigger, better iPhone 16 Plus. But to my surprise, when I actually started using it as my daily driver, which is what's recording this video right now, I ended up regretting it and I don't like it. And honestly, if I could go back in time, I would have just bought a cheaper model, maybe the 14, maybe the 15. I don't know, but definitely not the 16 again. Don't get me wrong, the phone is amazing. It's big, the screen is incredible. Everything about it is really, really good. But I just don't think it's worth $1,000 and to really spend that much money or move up that much from a 13. And honestly, the biggest thing for me is that it really doesn't change much. I love my phone and I use it daily and I use it a lot. But I really don't require the biggest processor or any type of massive amounts of RAM or anything like that. I really just use it to scroll TikTok, watch a YouTube video here or there, answer some emails, and that's pretty much it. And for that, I don't really need a big, massive iPhone 16 Plus. After testing the phone out for only a few days, because honestly, I've had it for less than a week, I've had it for about 4 days at this point, I realized it's exactly like my 13 and it really doesn't do anything any more different than what the 13 did. They're pretty much the exact same thing. It just has a much better battery and a bigger screen. But if I would have gotten the iPhone 16, just the regular 6.1-inch display, then I'm pretty sure I would have been so distraught at my phone that I would have just returned it outright because of how similar it is to my iPhone 13. Obviously, the biggest thing that changes is the battery life. And obviously, that's a no-brainer. I mean, going from a 13, which is 3 years old, to an iPhone 16, which is brand new, the battery difference is going to be insane. And I know that and I recognize that. But I don't think I should have had to pay $1,000 for my phone to last me the entire day. If I could go back in time, I honestly would have just paid 100, 200, or 300 even to just change the battery out of my 13 and then just be done with it and then not need to have to pay 1,000 for an overpriced phone that does exactly what my previous one did. One issue I have with Apple is how every year they make such small incremental upgrades, which they make seem as if they're really, really big when they really aren't, and nobody's gonna notice them in any way, shape, or form. The only reason I mention this is because I'm sure that on paper, my iPhone 16 is much better and much faster and this and that than my iPhone 13 was. But in day-to-day usage, reading emails, writing notes, setting reminders, seeing my notifications, things like that, you just don't really notice it. And so you're left wondering, why did I actually pay $1,000? I'm not going to spend an extra $1,000 or $1,200 on a 5% increment in my performance speed. I'm sorry, but it just really doesn't make sense for somebody to spend that much money for something that's so small and so incremental that it really doesn't make a difference. So although this vid is really just a little bit of a rant on the new phone I just bought and why I kind of regret it, there is still a recommendation for you guys, and it's that if you have an iPhone 13, 14, 15, or any type of new iPhone out there, the switch really isn't necessary. Unless you're going from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 16 Pro, which I guarantee you're going to see a world of difference, the difference from the newer iPhone models to an already new model isn't going to be that much. I think if you are on an older phone, let's say you're still on an iPhone 10, an 11, or maybe even a 12, I think a jump from the 12 to maybe the 14 Pro or maybe the 15 base model could be a very big jump and it could still save you some money. But I just think, honestly, if I'm feeling that my iPhone 13 is doing exactly what my brand new 16 Plus is doing, I think there really is a big issue in Apple's phones. And it's a fact that they're getting to a point where their phones are just too good. And so year by year, the changes they make aren't that many, and it's really nothing noticeable to the actual customer or the person using it. So my bottom line recommendation is if you're on a model that's anything under the 10 or you have the 10, 11, or 12, I do think a switch up could be necessary. But buying the 16 or even waiting for the 17 Pro isn't going to be necessary, because I can tell you from personal experience, my 16 Plus does exactly what my 13 did at the same speed and the same everything. So I really don't think spending that extra $1,000 is going to do much. If I were you, I would save an extra 200 or 300 and maybe even go for the 16E, which just came out. I promise you that still getting the 16E is going to be much better than the 11, 12, or 13 that you have. And it's still going to be comparable to the models like the 14, 15, and regular 16s. So again, that's something else I would recommend you guys to do. Like I mentioned before, this really is just a little bit of a rant video on the iPhone 16 and why I don't personally love it. And honestly, why I think it's going to be the last time I pay $1,000 plus for a phone. I think from this point on, I'm either going to upgrade incrementally, maybe spending 100 or 200 to upgrade my phone, or just stick to this one and then change to the 17 in 3 or 4 years when it still does exactly the same as the newer ones. If you did like this video and are interested in seeing one about the iPhone 16e, pretty similar to this one where I say how I love it and why everybody else hates it, I still don't know why, then that video is on my channel and there's going to be a card on screen right now. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.